Mithril ore. Refined to a powder.
In The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power Season 2, Episode 6, Sauron offers Celebrimbor a fresh mithril supply. But did they run out? Between his own mental degeneration and the illusions generated by Sauron, the circumstances surrounding the Lord of a region start to grow pretty perplexing. Even though viewers have a clear understanding of what is real and what isn't, certain minute elements begin to deviate from the norm. Some of these elements, such as Sauron's sudden generation of additional mithril as Anatar, could potentially hint at the true events occurring in Rings of Power. Celebrimbor and Anatar have finished the 7 dwarf rings thus far in Rings of Power Season 2. The Dark Lord in disguise is working to complete the 9 for men. Sauron's frustration has grown as obstacles continue to obstruct his path, given the extraordinary amount of work and resources required to construct the current Rings of Power. The primary issue in Rings of Power Season 2, Episode 6, was the scarcity of Mithril, prompting Anatar to seek more from Khazad-dûm. King Durin III felt too eager to share, which is problematic. Sauron gives Celebrimbor more mithril, but the dwarves refuse to offer any. Khazad-dûm turned down Anatar's request for additional mithril, almost frustrating him. King Durin wanted to hold out until the elves of a region were truly hungry, so he could trade the mithril for something far more valuable than the lumber Anatar provided. The Lord of Gifts had to go back to Celebrimbor empty-handed. Anatar still grabbed a vessel loaded with ground mithril and presented it to Celebrimbor after persuading him that their 9 rings of power was the only path ahead. This implied that it never was much of a concern to start with, so providing a pretty sudden fix for the major dilemma of Rings of Power episode. Celebrimbor clearly has no reason to doubt Anatar's receipt of the mithril from the dwarves. There's no indication of any sinister activity taking place. Nevertheless, King Durin's large no makes this change of direction very perplexing. Another likely hallucination of Celebrimbor from Sauron's new mithril. There were considerably more unusual events occurring in the scene where Sauron handed Celebrimbor the mithril in Rings of Power Season 2, Episode 6 than simply this that would offer a clue. Adar and his orcs had just besieged a region, causing horrific terror in the city. When Celebrimbor set out to explore, Sauron devised a little magic to make the city beyond his forge seem calm and totally safe. Sauron turned over the mithril and explained Celebrimbor what it was as the two stood chatting in the brilliant sunshine, surrounded by laughing youngsters. Like the surroundings, the mithril was probably simply an illusion. Like the surroundings, the mithril was probably just an illusion. Sauron needed Celebrimbor to return to the forge and begin work. Hence, reassuring the elf that he had obtained mithril proved to be a useful tactic. Not nearly to the point of actually starting to create the 9 rings, the Lord of a region was still in the planning stage. Once Sauron finally comprehends the situation, he may intend to replace the illusion of mithril with the real thing. Alternatively, it's possible that Sauron has chosen a different drug to create the 9, but he doesn't want Celebrimbor to know about his decision. It is possible that Sauron stole the new mithril from the dwarves. Furthermore, it is plausible that the item Sauron presented, Celebrimbor, is mithril. King Durin III is wearing one of Sauron's 7, hence, it could have been rather simple to put one over on the dwarf and seize a mithril cache before departing Khazad-dûm. Since Celebrimbor would remain unaware, the Dark Lord would have been happy to do so. King Durin III will undoubtedly uncover the truth about this matter. He held off on trading mithril because he expected a better deal, and stealing from someone he thought to be an elf of a region would surely cause disaster. Whether or not Sauron's mithril cache is genuine, his gift to Celebrimbor suggests upcoming strife. If Sauron's mithril cache is indeed an illusion, then he is undoubtedly adding another element to the 9's formula. If Anatar steals the mithril, it could trigger decades of animosity between the dwarves and elves entering the Lord of the Rings, thereby ending the camaraderie the doors of Durin symbolize. Still, none of this points forward for a region or Khazad-dûm in Rings of Power.